All right, guys, I got my hands on a C64. This is I guess it's a plug and play. I bought it from Amazon. This is when Amazon had this for, it was $54 at one point when I bought it. And this is the second version. There was a version before this one which had a couple of different games, and I don't think the firmware was updated. This one has the newer games, has the newer firmware, and has better reaction time, I guess is the best way to put it. It plays better. At least that's the reviews that I have been reading, and a couple of reviews that I've seen on YouTube say that the games react faster and it plays better. I haven't opened it yet. I don't know if you can see that. Where is it? Yeah, it's still sealed. These are the games they have on it. Now, I used to have a Commodore 64, and I used to play with it. I liked it. I used to do programs in BASIC. I had a book. I think it came along with my Commodore 64, and then I bought an outside book, which had programs for the Commodore 64. And there were, there would be these long programs, so kind of a basic type of sprite that you would see on the screen. But the Commodore 64 had some great games, and these are some of them. I've played a lot of these games. I had a few. When I had the Commodore 64, we used to have a program called Mr. Nibbler, and what that was, it was a copy program. So me and all my friends would trade games back and forth and basically copy. But I had summer games and summer games 2. I had Pit Stop, winter games. I had all of those games in BASIC. Now, the cool thing about this hookup is you actually can do... Now, the keyboard doesn't work. It's a small keyboard. But you can use like an on-screen keyboard and actually do basic programs. It would run like a regular Commodore 64. Now, they're saying that you can, I think, hook up a keyboard to it, or they're coming out with something... where you can hook up a keyboard to this and basically do BASIC on it. And I believe also this company is developing a full-size original keyboard. At least that's what I was reading, or that's one of the next things they would like to do. They would like to come out with an original Commodore 64 keyboard that you can hook up and basically write Commodore 64 programs on. But these are all pretty good games. They're not bad. I was a big, summer games and winter games. I used to play that a lot. Boulder Dash is a great game. Jumpman was another good game. I think they have not Mission Impossible or Impossible Mission on here. They have a lot of good games on here. There's enough. 64 games are all good. It's HDMI compatible, which is good. I'll hook it up right to my big screen, and I think it'll be fine. That is it. Let's put it down. Now, again, I'm always, I'm using one hand, and I don't really have a tripod. I don't want to get a tripod. But what I will do is I will open this up and show you what's inside. All right, guys, I got this opened. I'll pull this out. Hold on. Oh. Again, this is a one-hand deal. Look at that. So that is the box that is inside this box. And let's open this up. Let's see. All right, ready? Let's see. Let's look. Wow, look at that. Now, the other thing that I was reading was the version before this, the color did not match the color of the original Commodore keyboard. And supposedly the color of this new second version closely resembles or matches the color of the original Commodore keyboard. So this looks nicely packaged. I like it. It looks pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. I'm a big fan of the Commodore 64. It was my first intro into computers. The Commodore 64, the Apple II. The Apple was the big computer that was in all of the schools. So if you were in like a public school, especially in New York City, you had a Apple II, Apple IIe. And at the time, I think Apple was giving the computers to the school for free, from what I remember. So Apple was giving the computers to the physical schools for nothing. And the theory behind that is if the kids were playing with the computers in the school, then the parents would, buy the computer for the house because the kid, would ask for it or was playing with it. And I think what happened is Commodore was, I think, one of the best-selling. This Commodore 64 was one of the best-selling computers of all time, if not the best-selling computer. It's definitely one of the best-selling computers of all time. I'm not sure if it's the best, but it was one of the best. And it was great because you could do basic programming with it, and it had great games. It was a good system. All right, let's open this up. So I have this out of the box, and this is what it looks like. There's your HDMI, and then there would be your power source right there, right? Now, those are two USB connects, and that is supposed to be for joystick 1 and joystick 2, but from what I read, only joystick 2 works on this, and I'm not sure if there's a firmware update or there's something you can do, but there was something I was reading with the way the joystick layout is, because I actually could load up the new firmware from the website, connect it into that USB, and I could update this system with whatever new firmware they're coming out with, and that is actually cool. Those are the F1 keys. I used to remember those. I like them. That's great. Now, I remember on my Commodore keyboard, this keyboard doesn't press. It's solid, but it's cool. I think on my Commodore keyboard, I think on these letters, right, there was other symbols that you could put, if I remember correctly. Because I had a Commodore keyboard, so on the side of the letter, you would see these other funky type of symbols or caricatures, and you could get them onto the screen somehow. But anyway, this is the way it looked. Very, very cool. It looks like the Commodore keyboard. I love it. It is very nice. Put that down. So this is the joystick that comes with it. I've heard different things about this joystick. Some people wrote it's very stiff. Some people wrote that it's good. I haven't played with it yet. It feels pretty, it feels okay. I had a Epix joystick. EPYX. I had an Epix joystick. That was red and black for my Commodore. And it was a great joystick. It was you held it and it had like a side button over here on the thumb for the fire. It was a good joystick. This joystick looks pretty cool. All these buttons do something like reset, and there's like a save feature and stuff like that. But it looks good. It's not bad. And let's see what else comes with it. All right, so here is your power cable. Now, here's the thing with the power cable. That is the power cable. I'm basically going to take this, and what I charge my iPhone with, I'm going to plug, I'm going to plug this into the iPhone plug it into the wall. This will go into the side of my Commodore, and I'll go from there. So they don't give you a plug. They give you the wire, right? This is like a fire wire. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it correctly, but I'll use one of my iPhone plugs, one of those white iPhone plugs. I'll plug it into that, plug it into the wall, plug it into the Commodore. I should be okay. This is the HDMI plug, and that's fine. Now, I have a bunch of HDMI plugs, so I'm not too worried about that. Especially, I have the Mini 64 and the Mini S64, which is cool. So I have a bunch of HDMI cables coming out of my television. This is the quick guide. Let's see, it kind of tells you. That might be Spanish. Either way, it's fine. Maybe it's not. Now, when I bought this off of Amazon, I'm not even sure if it came from the United States, to be honest with you. Do not connect cables while the C64 mini powers on. So basically, and that's true with the NES. So basically connect everything before you turn it on, which is good. And that's just, alright, so there's some basic instructions. Small particles to get inside the mini 60. I won't do that. I usually keep all my stuff in good condition. So I will get a bag and stuff for this. I'm not going to mess around. Has a little LED that I think lights up like the Commodore 64 did, which is very cool. And that is cool. Very, very good. Okay. And then the next thing that I'm seeing is a, this is the, I guess it's maybe a new system, Antstream.com. Retro Reborn, the world's first retro game subscription service. So it looks like maybe they have a subscription service for all these games. Now I have all of these games basically, either on a MAME or some sort on my computer. Basically, I think I have every one of these games, but that's not there. But it looks like they're offering retro games through some sort of streaming service. Okay, that's cool. If you're into that, that's great. There's a promo code. All right, I'm going to hook this up. So guys, when you first log on, when you first turn it on, it has this very Commodore 64-ish music. It doesn't look bad right now. On my TV, we will pick English. So when you pick English, which I did, it brings you into that same type of screen that the mini NES or the mini SNES has, where you choose the games, and it tells you a little bit about them and a screenshot. There's basic, very cool. California games, summer games, world games, Boulder Dash. There's a lot of cool games on here. Now, if you're not used to this type of, I don't know, genre or era of games, these were mid to early 80s, even maybe the 90s. Commodore 64 was out for a long time. Epics. Great games. Alright, I'm going to go into them. I just went into Jumpman just to show you what it was about. 1983, yeah. It's going to be a little hard for me to play this while I'm holding the camera. It's, it's not conducive, I guess, the best way to put it. Oh, that's pause. Oh. Very cool. So guys, what I can tell you a little bit is, because I'm so used to playing with a D-pad, that I'm playing with this joystick. And ooh, I'm gonna get shot. It's different playing with like a old school type of joystick. So I'm so used to playing with, like, my Xbox controller or my, D-pad. Just, even with the SNES or the Super NES, they, that D-pad. Now I have this joystick, and it's not. It's bringing back some memory. That's a review. I hope you like it, and I hope that it's all good. If you have any questions or anything to add, please leave them in the comment section below. And that is it. You know, like, subscribe, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. And that's all, babe. God bless, and stay healthy and stay good. Make that money. All right. Bye-bye.